Today's podcast, I'm very excited to share with you how actually the journey in a corporate world happens. In today's environment, when I look back those days when we started our career, what kind of person I was and who are those leaders who have actually helped me to move in this part of the growth that I have got in the last so many years. I will also share with you a couple of names and their attributes, what they have done for people like us so that we could grow. I would share with you the thought processes that those organizations have, for which those organizations have also grown. What is the basic difference between an organization that would grow and that would not grow? It is all about the people. It's all about the leaders who make an organization grow. And large organizations can fall flat. Smaller organizations can also grow. I have seen great bosses in my life. I have learned a lot from them. I have seen the worst of bosses in my life. I have also learned from them. To respect them, I would not share the names of those toxic and worst bosses that all of us have encountered in the journey of our corporate life, but I would share the names of a couple of people who have made my life different. In those days, my first organization was Asian Paints, and I still recollect, in fact, Asian Paints office that I used to go was that was in Dargah Road in Park Circus in Calcutta. I remember two great bosses. One was my branch manager at that point of time, Ashish Dikshit, who have actually mentored me on those days when it was very nascent, budding young boy going. And my first position that I was holding in my career was territory sales in charge, and that also in Asian Paints. I was super excited. And my regional manager was Jaideep Nandi. I still recollect. Jaideep is still in Asian Paints, but he is in Asian Paints Singapore. Ashish moved on to Titan, and after that he started doing something on his own now. But these two bosses have made me understand that how to actually work hard, how to actually give your best to the end consumer. I still recollect that I used to work almost 16 to 17 hours during that time, and our godown was in a place called Taratala in Calcutta, much interior to that. And from office of Dargah Road, Park Circus, people who know Calcutta, they would understand that. And at that point of time, I used to take the local bus of Calcutta. Later, in fact, I had a scooter. After work, I used to go to the godown because the orders used to go there. If I knew that the customer really need the paint at that point of time for whatever reasons, even after the godown closes, I used to take those paint dabbas and go to the customer's home and deliver. It was not part of my duty to deliver, but I knew that it's so much important, and that's what great leaders have shown me, how to take the responsibility of being an entrepreneur. And there was many learnings. So these two bosses' name, why I shared is because these two were great leaders in the first organization that I was part of. It is so much important that so many things that I have learned from them is what I started cascading. I have always been a very ambitious person from my childhood. And always, along with work, I did multiple other things that have always given me more pleasure. I still recollect that first 5 to 7 years of my career, every Saturday, Sunday, I used to do coaching and private tuition. And that coaching is definitely not what I do today. I used to, in Calcutta, there are small coaching centers where students go and learn either physics, chemistry, maths, biology, English, etc. I remember that I was part of many such coaching centers where they used to pay us hourly, and I used to take classes. And that also helped me give me that extra pocket money, which I used to do. I used to run a little magazine at that point of time as well. That was my part-time business. Now, it's very important to be ambitious in the right way. So when I was doing my job full-time, I was also having my part-time business of little magazine. I was earning more money by getting that extra income from the coachings that I used to do. As the journey proceeded, I moved on to Bata. I was a district manager in Bata. I had again great bosses. We had Rajiv Gopalkrishnan at that point of time. One of the toughest boss that that I saw, but one of the great person that I have worked with. Rajiv then moved on to Canada for Bata, and I was the district manager handling my office was in 6A SN Banerjee Road. If people know Calcutta, then they would know it's above to the Elite Cinema Hall. Now Bata, I'm not too sure whether they still have that office there. I have been told that they moved to Gurgaon. So I used to handle Oberoi Bata and Lindsay Bata and similar. People who knows Calcutta, they would understand that Oberoi Hotel have a Bata store there, and Lindsay also has a Bata store, and many more. I had a lot of pleasure in putting the shoe in the person's feet, and I always used to tell the store people that it's your prerogative to ensure that you actually put on the shoe nicely at a customer's feet, so that the customer feels that you actually truly care for that customer. It's so much important, so much you touch the customer, and that's what always we do even today in multiple different forms. And that should be the lesson for the youngsters, that they should know how to touch customers in terms of coming close to them, understanding what they need, and being compassionate when they work with any customer. And parallelly, my tuition classes, my coachings was on. I also had a small band in Calcutta. I used to do small programs, music band, and we used to take orders and contracts from people who wanted a band to perform for say 2 or 2.5 hours, and we used to get some earnings from there as well. So gradually, as my career progressed, I saw that it was becoming more and more difficult for me to run the band, because the demand of the band, the timing that was needed for rehearsal and practice was much more time that it needs from me. And then gradually the band had to fade off, and I had to kind of agree to disagree that okay, I cannot run everything. Then I moved to a great organization called Kodak India. People would know the name of Eastman Kodak. At that point of time, I was handling a program called Kodak Express. If many of you recollect those red color boards, they were the Konica, Agfa, Fuji, those films used to go. This was a franchisee program in India. And later we borrowed a program called Kodak Photoshop. That was the first signage program in India. Superb learning that I had. I was heading the eastern part of the country for the entire signaging program of Kodak Photoshop. That was again the first program that India rolled out, where we were converting studios into Kodak Photoshop. Even today, some of the Kodak Photoshop I see in the country, those yellow color board studios. That was a great story that we had built in the ecosystem. So on and so forth, I moved on to multiple organizations. Then I was part of an organization called Chandra's Chemical, Dendrite. There itself, again, a great story that we had built. Fevicol was number one. In fact, very interesting, in Asian Paints, one of my boss's boss was Bharat Puri, who was general manager of Asian Paints in that point of time. Later, he was the managing director for Pidilite Industries. So I worked with Bharat quite closely. And here in Chandra's Chemicals, brand Dendrite, we were a straight competitor to Pidilite, but we successfully built the entire brand of Dendrite at that point of time. Across the country, cut through all the segments, we worked very hard to build a great brand. And that was an iconic history case study at that point of time. So I worked with a great person called Manojit Mukherjee, who was my CEO at that point of time. I used to report to Manojit, one of the great super bosses that I've ever seen and have had the privilege to work with him. The biggest advantage for him was he was terribly ruthless. He used to throw paper on your face if you would do a mistake. He used to allow you to stay overnight in office and finish work. And Manojit Mukherjee was a great boss. Means I would say that he was one boss who would always support you in the right way. Whilst he was very tough, he was very ruthless, but he knew how to love people, how to love the employees. I think we were very, very close to him, and most of my learnings that I have got today is a lot from him. I would also like to mention one more person's name here, SM Datta. SM Datta have been the board, I think he was in the board of Dendrite. In one of the incidents, I had the opportunity to go and pick up SM Datta. Whenever he used to come to Calcutta, he used to stay in Ramakrishna Mission Gold Park. So I was been told that to go and pick him up, and I went to Ramakrishna Mission, and I was driving to office with him, and the kind of learnings that I've got from him was amazing. SM Datta have been in the board of Hindustan Lever for I think almost more than 20 years. He was part of the largest MNCs that India and overseas had, been part of Wipro and many other organizations. Now these are the people who can actually make your life different. These are the people who can make you understand what is leadership all about, how is actually culture born. Leadership is not about bossism. Leadership is not about when you yell at people. Leadership is about when, even if you shout at people, it should be for a reason and with true love and compassion. Now, leaders like SM Datta, leaders like Manojit Mukherjee have shown us those kind of empathy that you should build in to build a true culture of an organization. I had worked in an organization called City Info Solutions, one of the mid-size, I would say, consulting and real estate firms in Bangalore. I still recollect the owner was Mr. KP Shetty, a great owner, a great person to work with. I used to go out with him as much as possible to get his learnings, and that was the first move that when we did in Bangalore. My son was almost 6 months and it was a new place. My wife used to be in the new city for her first time. I was continuously working, and that was again a huge learning for me, how to build organization in a new land. So we had our own journeys of life, and as when we were doing this, I got a call one day from the leadership team of Apollo Hospitals, and I remember meeting the promoters, and what they told me was that, we have seen how you have been scaling organization in the last so many years. Apollo Pharmacy have done 252 stores in 24-25 years, and we want you to completely revamp and start delivering one store every 24 hours in the country. Now that was the kind of thing that India have not seen, one store every 24 hours in the country. Now the culture there was more of a traditional culture. I don't want to dwell much on that, but it was a lot of hardships in the initial days because of the legacy of people that was there. And just to give you a note to the youngsters, if you want to really move organization from a promoter driven organization to a great organization, you will have all these things, but you have to hold on to your gun, hold on to the grit. I'm so thankful to the promoters of Apollo. They had full trust and confidence on me, and we worked in the right measure with all their support, and we started delivering one store every 24 hours in the country. It was a huge talk in the business forum that the way Apollo Pharmacy was marching ahead, and today they have close to around 3,500-4,000 stores. I think even the people who worked with me have contributed their level best. We used to almost work 20-22 hours a day. I remember I used to move from one city to the other instantly. In the morning I was in one city, in the afternoon some other city, and in the night some other city. That was the kind of pace that we were running for those years. It was a great journey, and I think India had seen how a retail pharmacy chain can scale up in such a short period of time, doing most of the things right. We opened, in fact, we opened pharmacy. There was a time when we opened pharmacy in 72 hours time inside Ahmedabad. I remember 3 days I was kind of completely there in Ahmedabad, setting up the complete new store, getting the merchandise, getting the interiors done, and the opening was ready in 72 hours time. We did lots of work inside the airports, inside the IITs, inside IIMs, and I was leading it. What a pleasure that you get when you work with great people, great promoters, great bosses, when they understand that everyone is aligned to drive. Now those were the kind of journeys that we all did. Then I had thought that it's time that I need to do much more to help people also. And then was a time, when we rolled out and started helping multiple startups at my own level. So I had supported multiple startups financially, with whatever I have learned in my career, and I have helped those startups to bud and grow. Then I moved on to UK for some time. We worked out in that environment. That was again a great learning for us, and again long hours. My family used to wait for me when in fact we initially used to stay in a place called Abbeywood, and then we moved to a place called Erith. My work was out of Welling. It was multiple learnings that we got in those environments. It was great going for me, and we were almost kind of cleared that we will settle down in London. My only hitch was that was a time when I had to move my pet, and we had a lot of paperwork to do, and then we saw that it was very, very difficult at that point of time to move our pet who was here with us to London. And then we thought, no, I think we just can't leave her there or abandon, and we took a very, very hard decision to come back in the country. Now when you are completely set there, you can see that your money have started inflowing, and you are doing extremely well, but your objective of life is not only money. Your objective of life is not only your career. You know that someone is out here waiting for you who cannot talk our human language. So it's so much important to also understand that no worries, you will do something back out in the country. And we came back. Then I was part of, again, a smaller startup ecosystem. We were scaling that up. I did multiple work in scaling up those ecosystems back. But one point I was contented that no worries, our pet Daisy was back with us, and we have not left her alone. Whilst on one hand you feel that, okay, I have left up a great job that I was doing in London, and I have to compromise in terms of my salaries, my compensations, etc., etc. But it's all right. I think sometimes in life you have to be very clear as to what you need in terms of your virtues and ethos in life. And then again the journey started. Then we started getting into doing more and more work for when we were helping youngsters and entrepreneurs, but I had to earn money. Now what typically was happening is that I had done a lot of expenses when we were moving on to London. We had set up our house there, but everything we left off and came back. I had to restart. Now it's a journey. When you have to restart, it's not always easy. When you were very comfortable, you are in a cushiony job, you had the company car, you have everything, you have to restart. Now again I had to restart from where I was to rebuild that. I joined back in organizations, again proving myself back, and again scaling up. So one very important piece that I would like to comment here is that success is where you may go up, come down, go up and come down. But if you believe in yourself, if you believe in God, if you believe on doing good things, whatever it is, you will always, bounce back in life. There were situations where when I was building up multiple scenarios, I had my own lessons and learnings of how people can ditch you as well. To respect them, I would not like to discuss that part in details, but always keep in mind there will be scenarios when, in spite of giving your more than 100% in all levels, you may be put down, but that's all right. As long as you know that you are not on the wrong path, you are doing the right thing, it's absolutely perfect. I moved on to organizations. I was working for an organization again in Bangalore called Columbia Hospitals. It was a great learning because we had one of the finest boss, Tufan, who have been in a long timer in Oberoi's, and he built all the Oberoi's culture in Columbia. I was in a very large projects of Columbia, new projects, pharmacy, physiotherapy, multiple things I was doing there, I think, and scaling up. So that was when I was doing strategic improvements between India and Malaysia. Lots and lots of great work, and especially I would like to mention the kind of value systems that Tufan used to kind of inculcate to everyone out there was really commendable. And these are the kind of bosses that you would like to work for. Now, when when today I reflect back and see, when I interview people, I work with team, these are the kind of build blocks that I build or I look for when I build organizations. And the journey continued, and today I am part of the largest Indian organization that is there, and I'm heading a large format business out here, multiple people. But one mantra, I think whosoever is listening, and even in my existing team, if they are listening to this, they know the kind of leadership that I drive in. It's human first. We do a lot of work to focus on revenue, but I think much larger work goes on to focus on people. Much larger work goes in act of kindness. Much larger work actually goes in to see that we do a lot of good things beyond the only the revenue part of the story. And that's what should be ideally the journey of ecosystem. So in my whole journey, I have started from a very bare minimum basic level, and then I have started growing step by step across. But the only thing that I've always felt is that we have to be principally clear. We have to have the basics right. I'm so much grateful to my parents, to my family, to my wife, to my friends, to my colleagues, to my good bosses, to my not so good bosses, that I have learned a lot. I have understood that in this whole journey of ecosystem, how you need to not only improve yourself, but how you can actually contribute towards building an organizational culture. Today, when I talk about culture in organizations, this is from all my learnings that I have built across. I have got from the good bosses, I have got from great people, is what I build back into the organizations. And that is where I think, and that is what makes all the difference to create a great organization. A great organization is never about the turnover. A great organization is never the hunger to become number one. A great organization is when you actually understand the passion of love for building an organization towards the right ethos. And that need to flow all across. It cannot be in one level. Once that flows all across, then a great family is born. Then a great country is born. Then a great organization is born. And that is what I am looking to make ahead as many organizations that I touch. When I work with the promoters of the organizations, that is what I try to build and inculcate in their generation and their next generation, so that great organizations are born. And if great organizations are born, I think we will not only excel in those organizations, but great country will be born. I can give multiple such examples. I will do one more podcast very soon where I'll give more examples to share about great promoters. Whatever I have seen them when I worked very closely with them, what are their attributes that have helped them to build great organizations. I would also share a couple of thoughts about not so great promoters and where they are without naming much about it. That is the respect that we need to share with them, but because since that is also learning for me. But overall, if all of us are poised to make great organization, we can not only keep a print on that organization, but every time we move to the next organization, we can again build there and build there and build there. And that's how the journey of a corporate person should move about. And that's what should be the journey of today's youngsters, today's leaders, today's bosses, and everyone who wants to really and truly build great companies. Thank you so much for listening.